For 52 years, Barbara Waldman was nothing more than a haunting memory and an unsolved file gathering dust in a Long Island basement, a ghost whose name was whispered only in the past tense, her family having long since abandoned any flicker of hope for justice, her friends having stopped asking the painful, unanswered questions that gnawed at their peace. But then, in a moment that no one saw coming, a single microscopic fragment of DNA evidence, something investigators had dismissed as useless, something they thought would never yield a result after all those decades, suddenly screamed a truth that shattered the silence. This is the story of how a dark secret buried in 1974 was violently dragged into the light, and why the monster everyone was looking for was never a stranger in the night. It was January of that year in the quiet, sleepy suburb of Oceanside, Long Island, where the biggest concern was the weather and the safety of unlocked doors, and Barbara Waldman, in a final tender moment, told her 5-year-old child she'd be right back as she slipped into her bedroom. But the seconds stretched into an eerie, suffocating silence, and then the unthinkable horror unfolded when that same innocent child, toddling in to find their mother, discovered Barbara's lifeless body, a sight that would forever scar a soul and fracture the entire town's sense of safety and innocence. For over 5 decades, police chased shadows and dead ends, interviewing everyone who knew her, following every lead that turned to dust until the case grew so cold it seemed to freeze time itself, and the evidence was boxed up and relegated to a forgotten shelf, seemingly waiting for a miracle that would never come. But then, in 2026, science finally caught up with the past, and using a revolutionary breakthrough in forensic genealogy, detectives unearthed a name that had been deliberately buried deep within the original case files, a name that made their blood run cold. When the DNA finally matched with a chilling, undeniable certainty, the arrest didn't just send shockwaves through the community, it detonated a bomb of disbelief because the man they cuffed and led away was an absolute pillar of the town, a man seen attending church every Sunday, a man who raised his own children with a gentle hand, a man who lived a normal, respectable life for decades, all while carrying a gruesome secret that was the last thing anyone would ever suspect. Justice was finally served, but it left a terrifying, chilling question hanging in the air like a fog. Was Barbara his only victim, or were there others, their cries for justice still silent, waiting in the dark for DNA to finally give them a voice? And as we ponder the full, horrifying truth, we have to wonder, will it ever really come out? Or are some secrets just too deep to ever fully surface?